Nope. Got it. What is wrong with this team? Well, hello there. It's Frosty time! It's playoff hockey time, baby. Let's go. And most of the Nashville Predators won that game. Preds win, baby. 4-0 over the Philadelphia Flyers. What do you think? It's not the Nashville Predators' way of playing hockey. The streak is over. Let's go, Preds. Let's go, Preds. Let's go, Preds.
Ready for this game since the quack of dawn.
Preds lose 4-2 the Florida Panthers last night. I'm just gonna go through the goals real quick. First period starts. Aaron Ekblad, slapper from the point. I believe it was on the power play off of a terrible call from the refs on a Dan Ham-Hughes. I think it was an interference call. It was terrible. The player touched the puck at least a second before Ham-Hughes hit him. I completely disagree with that. Let's just talk about the refs for a second. They were absolute garbage for both sides of this of the game last night. They missed 3 calls on the Predators. I think it was a spear, a slash, and a high stick on the Panthers. Like the Preds committed on the Panthers in about a minute. And they made some horrible calls on the Predators, and then they missed a bunch on the Panthers as well. Not a bunch, but they missed like 1 or 2. The refs were awful. They did just terrible last night. So the Ekblad with the slapper off on the power play. Not too much later, I don't think. It was at least later in the first period. It was a tic-tac-toe goal from Vetrano. Frank Vetrano, former Boston Bruin Frank Vetrano. Yeah, he puts it in the back of the net, past UC Stars, and it's 2-0 again. After 2-0, just like in the Winnipeg game. And there's just a big hill to climb in the second period if they're gonna do anything at all. Vincent Trocheck, it's his first game back, and I believe it's his first game back. He goes in the third period and he scores off of a really bad turnover. In the Preds I think she actually think he was in the neutral zone, and he just walks in on UC Soros and puts on a head fake, and he just throws it in the back of the net. It's 3-0, and it's 3-0 until the end of the second period. Johansson was suspended for this game. This is his first game of suspension for the slash that I talked about. I believe I talked about in the previous video on either Scheifele or Wheeler. Ronaldo's put on IR, and Turris is still out, so we're without our top 2 centers. I believe Yarncroke centered the first line, but he centered the second line. Colin Blackwell is called up as well. He played a good game, I guess, but he had some chances. Forsberg's thrown his weight around in the first period. He was throwing his weight around in the second period. He's being annoying. Because he's not scoring right now, he might as well contribute physically to the team. Not to mention, the Preds have gone down 2-0 in the last 2 games, and they've let up the first goal in the last 4 or 5 games. So obviously they're not doing very well at all in the last 4 or 5. They've been absolutely terrible since that 6-game tear. I say 6-game tear as if they won all 6 games, but they had lost 6 games and we went on that point streak, and now we've just been up and down like a roller coaster at Disney World. Then the Predators take a too many men penalty, which they're able to kill off because of a Forsberg block. Otherwise, it's 3-0 immediately in the second period. And then at that point, I don't even know if they would have even climbed out of the hole. But again, it ends in the second period, 3-0. And then later on, Nick Bonino's just like, hey, maybe someone should show up to this game. And he puts in a goal off of a 2-on-1 and a great effort from Roman Josi, who also showed up to this game. He was great. Josi's been really consistently good. Bonino's been really consistently good in this bad stretch of hockey played by the Predators. And then later on, Bonino again throws it to Austin Watson. Austin Watson tips it in through the 5-hole of James Reimer, who, by the way, was playing a fantastic game on the second half of a back-to-back. So great. It's 3-2 now. And then Colton Sevier throws the puck over to McCann, wide open net. Just like the Appleton goal in the Jets game, and the Lemieux goal in the Jets game, and that makes it 4-2, and that's the end of scoring for the entire game. The Preds couldn't get anything going. I mean, they threw a lot of shots at the net, but that didn't matter considering that they weren't putting them in. They weren't high danger chances. They weren't getting any sort of traffic to the net. At some point in the game, Craig Smith had this wide open chance, and he just couldn't bury it. That's basically how this team has been. They have had all these chances, they've had wide open nets, they've had tip-ins, they've had rebounds, and they just can't capitalize because they either can't get their stick on it and they're throwing it wide of the net. They have to hit the net on these chances. And I don't even think they played that horrible of a game. The 4 power plays they had obviously were terrible because they're terrible on the power play. The penalty kill was okay. Saros had a bunch of key saves. He was a bright spot in this game. Him, Roman Yossi, and Nick Bonino were about the only ones. And still Saros could, and still, again, we can't rely on the netminders to do everything for the Preds. To be honest, and I realized this earlier today, after I realized that how good the Sabres had been at one point during the season and how much better they've gotten since they've hired him. Phil Housley was the driver, was the main coach of the defense when we went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2017. If you can't tell from that freaking flag from back there, he left the team. I believe he left the team after that season because when you perform well, you go coach other teams. And Dan Hughes came in, and Dan Hughes has been a great coach. He's been fine. He's been good. The defense isn't the same underneath him. And so that's causing people to freak out and be like, oh no, we gotta fire Laviolette. Oh no, we gotta fire Lavi. I don't believe that's the case. I don't think we need to fire Laviolette at all. He's been great. I think we need more. I think the first thing that happens if we don't get out of the first round this year, I don't think Dan Hughes lasts very long. If the Preds don't make it out of the first round this season. It's just an opinion. I don't know. But they've just not been playing very well defensively. They've never been good offensively. You can't score 1 or 2 goals per game and hope to win. This is not soccer.